Welcome to this mini-series all about ICD, the Institute for Challenging Disorganization, and why the work matters for people affected by chronic disorganization. I'm Kat Green, an ADHD organizing specialist and coach, and for almost a decade, I've been working and supporting individuals and families navigate chronic disorganization. I've been a subscriber of ICD since 2021 and have also trained as a coach under the Coach Approach Training Institute. My approach combines professional training with personal experience in my own ADHD household, giving me firsthand insight into how traditional organizing methods often fall short for neurodiverse brains. The systems I develop are compassionate, practical, and designed for sustainable long-term success. In this series, I'm going to break down the history of ICD, what chronic disorganization is, what chronic disorganization is not, the factors associated with chronic disorganization, who ICD supports, and ending it with resources and why it matters. If you've been struggling for a long time with finding organization that works for you, you love someone who's affected by chronic disorganization, or you're a professional who wants to support clients with more compassion, you're in the right place. My goal is simple. I want to help you understand your brain, feel less alone, and show you that real, shame-free support exists. Most importantly, I want you to know that you deserve support and understanding. Let's dive in. How chronic disorganization got its name. Before we even discuss what chronic disorganization is, we need to talk about where the language and framework I'll be using came from. That brings us to ICD, the Institute for Challenging Disorganization. ICD was created by professional organizers who noticed something important. Some people struggle with disorganization in ways that don't respond to traditional advice, like just declutter, make a checklist, or try harder. They bought the pins, downloaded the planner, attended organizing classes, and still the piles return. The calendar gets overlooked, and the systems fall apart after just a few weeks. The term chronic disorganization was first introduced in 1992 at the National Association of Professional Organizers Conference by Judith Kohlberg, who spoke about supporting individuals who were consistently and persistently disorganized. That presentation led to an informal special interest group, which later became the National Study Group on Chronic Disorganization, or NSGCD. Founding members included professional organizers Denslow Brown, Cindy Glavinsky, Terry Prince, Valentina Skro, and Iron Tobis. Through their work with clients, they saw firsthand how people struggling with chronic disorganization were often met with shame, judgment, or one-size-fits-all solutions that didn't address underlying causes. They believed this population deserved research-backed strategies and compassionate support, not criticism. What began as a shared concern grew into a formal mission, eventually becoming a nonprofit devoted to advancing education, research, and ethical standards in the field. In 2001, NSGCD was formally founded as a nonprofit. In 2010, it became what we now know as ICD. ICD's mission has grown significantly beyond the founder's initial vision. Currently, members from Europe, Australia, Asia, North America, and South America collaborate to promote education, research, and evidence-based approaches that aid those facing chronic disorganization. Their work has shaped the foundation of the method I use with my clients, grounded in dignity, science, and deep understanding. Instead of focusing on surface-level fixes, we examine behavior patterns, environmental mismatches, and realistic goals that can be implemented step by step. This isn't about quick decluttering hacks. It's about sustainable change built on awareness and compassion. Now that we have the context for the language and framework I'll be using, let's talk about what chronic disorganization actually is. What is chronic disorganization? ICD defines chronic disorganization as more than general clutter. To meet their terminology, there's 3 defining features that must be met. The 3 features that embody chronic disorganization are persistent disorganization, disorganization that affects a person's daily quality of life, and a history of failed self-help attempts to find organization. We'll go through each one of these key elements one by one. Feature 1, persistent disorganization over a long period of time. The word chronic means persistent, generally lasting months or years. Those experiencing this know that disorganization isn't a phase. It's been a consistent part of life, to the point that they may believe it's part of who they are. This does not mean getting and staying organized is hopeless. It just means that organization has to be approached as a process, not a one-time project. In my work, I say getting organized is about learning what works for you and giving yourself permission to experiment to find what works for the long term. Feature 2, disorganization that undermines quality of life on a daily basis. This can look like constantly losing important items, running late no matter how hard you try, living in spaces that never feel restful or functional, or feeling mentally overwhelmed by visual clutter. Over time, this creates stress, elevated cortisol levels, and exhaustion, not just for those individuals, but for those around them. A constant overwhelmed state can increase anxiety, weaken confidence, and make daily tasks seem impossible. Relationships may become strained. Communication can break down. People might withdraw socially out of embarrassment or fear of judgment. The effects are rarely limited to clutter. They impact every area of your life. Feature 3, a history of failed self-help efforts. This is often the breaking point. You've read the books, watched videos, and done the research. You've bought the containers, tried the hacks, used the apps, planners, and despite all of that, nothing sticks. This can feel like a personal failure, and worse, can lead people to believe that there is something wrong with them. After so many difficulties, it's easy to give up and stop trying at all. And when someone reaches out to me at this stage, I don't see failure. I see resilience and readiness for the right kind of support. An individual can use these 3 features to determine whether they are experiencing chronic disorganization. Once there's awareness, they aren't confined by the label. They're able to access different methods to better take control of the situation with the knowledge they're not alone. As Judith Kohlberg said, chronic disorganization is the result of a bad fit between people who organize unconventionally and very conventional organizing methods. Chronic disorganization isn't cured because it isn't a diagnosis, but it can be managed, supported, and radically improved with individualized strategies. What chronic disorganization is not. Now that we've covered what the building blocks of chronic disorganization are, we need to cover common assumptions that follow both the visual disorganization as well as the effect it has on daily life. Chronic disorganization is not laziness. It is not a lack of caring. And it is not a moral failure. It is also not the same as everyday messiness or situational disorganization, which can be adjusted in a relatively short time period, or after the underlying cause is addressed, such as during a move, an illness, or a stressful season. Chronic disorganization is rooted in how the brain processes time, decisions, information, and follow through. When time seems elusive, planning becomes difficult. If decision-making drains energy, people tend to postpone or avoid decisions. Without automatic sorting, information piles up both physically and mentally. Moreover, inconsistent follow-through means even the most effective system won't last long. What looks like clutter on the outside is often executive function overload on the inside. When we stop treating chronic disorganization like a character flaw and start understanding it as a neurological and environmental mismatch, everything changes. This is beyond a person's control without proper awareness. Shame layered onto stress keeps people frozen. You see, ICD's framework shifts the conversation. Instead of asking, why can't you just get it together? We begin asking, what's happening underneath this? And it provides education not only to the individual experiencing chronic disorganization, but also to families and professionals, so everyone is operating from understanding instead of frustration. And when understanding replaces blame, progress becomes possible. Factors associated with chronic disorganization. What's really underneath chronic disorganization rarely has a single underlying cause. Research shared through ICD, including work by Phyllis Fludner, shows that it often results from multiple overlapping factors. In many cases, several factors are at play and they frequently build on each other over time. A learning difference may go unnoticed. A stressful life event may worsen existing executive function challenges. Environmental demands can increase while internal capacity stays the same. What begins as one difficulty can evolve into a layered pattern that feels increasingly overwhelming. These can include neurological factors like ADHD, autism, traumatic brain injury, fibromyalgia, Parkinson's disease, or multiple sclerosis can add to chronic disorganizations in ways unique to the condition or person, making it harder to get organized in the home or keep life organized in the mind. Mental health challenges such as depression, anxiety disorders, OCD, avoidance patterns, or compulsive hoarding disorder potentially add another layer to chronic disorganization that adds an emotional attachment, limitation, or disregard for clutter. Life patterns and choices such as overscheduling, owning too much, unclear priorities, or a lack of long-term goals work to create a pattern of what starts out as choices will become habits and a reliable cycle that can spiral into disorganization that feels impossible to surmount. Then there's skill gaps. If organizing was never modeled or taught, it can feel daunting and stressful. Without a clear framework or taught skills, small manageable steps may feel overwhelming and be harder to uphold on a daily basis. Then there's physical challenges such as fatigue, impaired mobility, vision challenges, sleep disorders, or chronic illness can make general small daily chores, as well as larger scale attempts to organize, feel impossible. The need for support or aid can also present unique issues when it comes to organization goals. There's aging-related changes, medication management, difficulties or cognitive decline, often seen in older age individuals, can lead to a variety of challenges when it comes to reclaiming organization that was once familiar or may have been tangible. The key takeaway is this: chronic disorganization isn't solved by buying more containers or doing a thorough organization twice a year. It's also not a personal failure or a conscious choice and can't be treated as such. It requires understanding the root causes and building systems that support the person, not just the space. The ICD framework helps do exactly this when used in actionable steps. Who ICD supports? An ecosystem of understanding. One of the things I love most about the Institute for Challenging Disorganization is that it doesn't just support one type of person. ICD supports 3 interconnected groups. First, individuals affected by chronic disorganization. ICD gives language to experiences that are often misunderstood. Instead of thinking, I'm irresponsible or why can't I just get it together, people begin to see patterns in executive function, processing, and environmental overwhelm. When the story moves from I'm failing to I need different tools, self-criticism diminishes, opening up room for change. Second, loved ones and family members. When someone you care about struggle with chronic disorganization, it can be confusing, frustrating, or even painful, especially if you don't understand what's underneath. ICD offers tools that help families shift from judgment to understanding and from conflict to collaboration. This can help ease tension in the relationship. Once loved ones understand that chronic disorganization isn't a personality flaw or a choice, more opportunities for assistance and patience open along with actionable steps that allow everyone to work together. And third, professionals who support them. Organizers, coaches, therapists, and related professionals can receive specialized ICD training so we learn how to meet clients where they are, not where society thinks they should be. The supported shift means removing shame-based systems from the process of decluttering and organizing. It also means avoiding the application of neurotypical solutions onto neurodiverse brains, which opens more opportunities for successful adjustments and a more lasting relationship between professional and client. ICD creates a whole ecosystem of support where everyone involved is learning the same compassionate language, and that's where real change happens. ICD tools, resources, and why it matters. ICD doesn't just provide theory. It provides practical research-based tools that help clients, their support system, and professionals. One of the most well-known tools in this framework is called the Clutter to Hoarding Scale. The scale allows us to assess a space without shame or judgment. It helps identify patterns, safety concerns, and next steps, without attaching morality or blame to the individual living in the environment. The scale also expands the focus beyond the disorganization itself to focus on immediately necessary changes that will directly impact a person's life for the better, allowing actionable goals to be put in place that are person-specific. Now, ICD also offers in-depth classes, research-based guidelines, certificate programs, education on chronic disorganization, ADHD, hoarding tendencies, and related challenges. Whether you're seeking help or offering it, ICD gives structure to something that often feels overwhelming and chaotic. It provides various flexible approaches that can work together to help individuals rather than forcing someone to retry something that does not work for them. And at the end of the day, this work matters because chronic disorganization is real. People affected by it deserve support that's rooted in compassion, understanding, and science, not shame. If you find yourself resonating in any of the information in this series, I want you to hear this clearly. You're not alone, and you're not broken. There are professionals just like me who understand how your brain works and know how to help. If you're curious about working with a CD-trained organizer or coach, or you want to start learning more about your own patterns, explore ICD's resources and reach out to someone who truly gets it. You deserve systems that support your life, not fight against it.